Clinical trials for new psychiatric treatments usually conjure images of sterile hospital rooms, doctors with clipboards, and the administration of a pill. That rigorous, institutional approach is exactly what you find at the world's leading research centers, including Johns Hopkins and Imperial College London. But inside these dosing rooms, two fixtures look out of place in a medical setting: a pair of eye shades and a pair of headphones. The music playing through those headphones is a carefully guarded, curated playlist, rather than simple background ambiance for relaxation. Researchers treat this playlist with the same clinical rigor and engineering as the psychedelic dosage itself. A psychedelic compound immediately throws the mind wide open, beginning the process of dissolving the boundaries of the ego. This creates a unique biological problem. The compound acts as a catalyst, but it provides no direction to the patient, leaving them in a vulnerable psychological vacuum. Without the ordinary cognitive structures we use to interpret reality, a patient can quickly feel adrift. Music provides the necessary structure. It gives the wide-open mind an emotional path to lean on when the ordinary structures of the self have softened, acting as the hidden therapist. To understand why sound is the chosen clinical tool, we have to look at the 5-HT2A receptor. Activating this receptor ramps up the emotional weight of everything the patient perceives. This happens alongside the quieting of the default mode network, which usually maintains the self-referential grip that keeps us at a distance from our own feelings. In 2015, Mendel Kaelin and his colleagues at Imperial College showed that under LSD, the human emotional response to music is physically and measurably enhanced. The data revealed significant increases in felt wonder, transcendence, and tenderness. The drug biologically primes the brain to surrender its defenses to musical emotion. These biological changes explain the strict design rules of a clinical playlist. For the core of the session, the tracks must be unfamiliar and entirely wordless. Lyrics impose an external story onto the experience, while familiar songs trigger pre-existing associations. Both can hijack the patient's internal material. This 2016 study found that LSD creates increased connectivity between the parahippocampus, a hub for memory, and the visual cortex while listening to music. This neural link transforms sound into a visual, world-building experience. Patients describe a profound sensation of physical travel, moving through a shifting 3D topography generated by the sound. Unfamiliar, instrumental music provides the required blank canvas for the brain to build its own visual and autobiographical landscape. The playlist is engineered as an emotional arc, matched to the biological half-life and intensity of the drug in the bloodstream. It opens with gentle, welcoming pieces, builds toward wordless and transcendent peaks, and eventually softens into warm, resolving music for the return. At the peak of the timeline, when the patient's sense of self has completely dissolved, the music remains as the only structural reality in the room. This timed arc acts as the banks of the river, keeping a volatile psychological experience contained and moving forward. In 2018, Kaelin analyzed how patients in a trial for severe depression actually experienced this auditory environment. When asked what carried them through their healing, participants pointed to the music rather than the drug or the clinicians. They described the playlist as a guide, a container for overwhelming emotion, and an active presence in the room. The researchers found that a patient's ability to trust and surrender to the music was the primary indicator of a successful session. For many participants, the relationship with the music effectively was the therapy. As the psychedelic renaissance scales globally toward clinical approval, the focus is often on the pharmaceutical compound. However, these findings show that institutions are architecting a highly vulnerable human experience where the setting is as critical as the dose. When a mind is wide open, the engineered sequence of sound is one of the most effective tools we have for guiding a person through their own depths.